Hello and welcome to another episode of the ZTV Sports Report, your home for all things Akron Zips athletics. On today's episode, we'll be continuing our coverage of our football, volleyball, and soccer teams as they all have recently entered conference play. As always, I'm Zach Leininger.
And I'm Megan Williams.
And this is the ZTV Sports Report. Welcome back. To start off today's episode, we'll be taking it over to Katie, who covered the football team's recent game against Northern Illinois.
What's up everyone, it's Katie, and today I will be covering everything Zips Akron football. On October 7th, the Zips fell short of Northern Illinois 55-14 at InfoCision Stadium for the University of Akron's homecoming football game. Redshirt senior running back Lorenzo Lingard paced the Zips rushing attack by accumulating 49 yards and averaged 4.1 yards per carry. Lingard also added 32 receiving yards. Akron's redshirt sophomore quarterback Taj Bullock added 41 yards and 1 touchdown in the contest. On the defensive end, sophomore linebacker Brian McCoy led the Akron defensive efforts, collecting 3 tackles and 1 sack. Alongside redshirt sophomore cornerback Devontae Golden Nelson had 3 tackles in the loss. Northern Illinois was able to find holes in the Akron defense throughout the entire game. NIU opened the game with a 6-play, 75-yard touchdown, which set the tone for the whole game. Akron Taj Bullock answered the Huskies' touchdown to make it 7-7 with 6 minutes left in the first quarter. The Huskies were able to add 28 points in the second quarter, leading the Zips to go into the locker room trailing 35-7. Halfway through the third quarter, the Zips were able to add another 7 points to the board, making the score 48-14. The Huskies were very efficient on the offensive end. Northern Illinois' quarterback, Lombardi, was an efficient 10 of 15 passing for 191 yards, and Rudolph caught 3 passes for 58 yards and had 2 carries for 35 yards on the ground. The Huskies gained 571 yards of total offense on 52 plays, including 338 rushing yards just on 35 carries. Northern Illinois' running back, Brown, averaged 21.5 yards per rush. Brown added 4 touchdowns out of the Huskies' 6. Akron struggled to hold the Huskies off during the second and third quarter, but were able to keep them scoreless in the fourth quarter. This is Katie with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips.
Thank you, Katie. Well, that's not the type of game I want to see from the Zips here. Aside from the opening drive where Taj Bullock got the Zips down the field and scored a touchdown, it just seems that Northern Illinois was able to take control, and they just never looked back. What did you see from this game?
I think the biggest thing that was making our team struggle so much was the fact that we didn't even have our starting quarterback playing. I think we had our third string in, and you're just never used to playing with him as much as you are the first string. So I think the fact that we had him in to begin with was just like our confidence was really low going in because we weren't as prepared as we would have been if DJ was playing.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely make a good point on that. It just seemed that the offense through the majority of the game, like I said, aside from the opening drive, it just seemed like things were starting to sputter for the Zips, and we weren't able to get things going. We were getting onto the field, and they were quick 3-and-outs. I know as the game went on, Bullock threw an interception, which gave Northern Illinois good field position, and just aside from that. With our offense not doing good, that left our defense on the field for a lot of the game, and the defense was struggling, and they were just getting worn out because we can see from Antario Brown from the Huskies here, he ended up gathering 280 yards, 4 touchdowns in this game, with with his longest run of 66 yards. Rocky Lombardi, a quarterback for Northern Illinois, he completed a 64-yard pass, and it just seemed like the majority of the game was Northern Illinois just capitalizing on big plays. We didn't seem to have an answer, and we weren't really able to adjust in a way to help us out. And it just seems like before we knew it, things were going in the wrong direction. Like we were talking before, and I was saying, like I mentioned before, I wasn't sure how the game was going to go, but before I realized it, it was 28-7 in the second quarter, and then coming into the third quarter out of halftime, things didn't seem to get too much better. Northern Illinois just seemed to keep stacking it up, and before you knew it, it was 49-7, and the Zips just seemed out of it the entire game. What do you want to see from the Zips moving forward?
I think it all just comes down to confidence. I feel like our team was really lacking confidence that entire game, just because if you think about it, before that game, the Buffalo game, we lost, and we should have won that game. So I think that just really didn't have them coming in with the best frame of confidence, because they just lost and they shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, well, we'll see how things will go.
Yeah.
So that'll about wrap it up for our coverage of the football team. So we're going to switch gears and talk about the volleyball team and take it over to Matt, who took a look at the recent game against Central Michigan.
What's good, everyone? Matt here, and I'll be covering the volleyball team's recent game against Central Michigan at James E. Rhodes Arena, which resulted in a final score of 3-2. Let's take a look, shall we? It was a very tight game, as both teams tied 2-2 during the first 4 sets, with the Zips taking the dub on sets 1 and 3 through a series of kills and errors. Now that the teams were neck and neck, the last set will be the tiebreaker for the game, and you could just sense the competition. Senior Faith Johnson and junior Lauren Baker gave the Zips hope with starting kills, earning them 2 points. Claire Amaral of Central Michigan tried to make the Zips eat volleyball and failed to do so. This attack error led the Zips to secure yet another point after falling behind by 2. Juniors Ellen Kennard and Genevieve Hara both made kills, getting Zips up to 5 points. Things were starting to look up as a service ace from the Zips and an attack error by Ellie Mendendorp and Maddie Gebhardt gave the Zips a 3-point lead. The Zips officially had the upper hand by taking the lead of 11-7 thanks to kills by Hara, Johnson, and freshman Eliska Yitzakova. Central Michigan made it easy for the Zips with the serving errors made. The 5th and final set concluded with junior Melissa Torre scoring the winning point. That last point allowed the Zips to win the final set and the game overall. It is safe to say that both teams gave their all, and it is with immense pleasure to say that the Zips came through at the end. This is Matt with your ZTV Sports Report, and as always, go Zips.
Thank you, Matt. Well, Megan, the volleyball team seems to be doing pretty well. This game against Central Michigan marked their 4th straight win. Just take me through what you saw.
Well, I think the first thing that just led them to do really well was they had, as you just said, we had 3 wins in a row leading up to this game, and we just had so much confidence coming in. And we lost the first set, but we were able to come back and win the second one. We lost the third set by a decent amount, but then the rest of the game we were just on, and we played very well. I mean, all our players who normally do well were just on. Faith did amazing with 17 kills. Eliska Vidaskova was amazing as always. Our whole entire team had a total of 58 kills compared to Central Michigan's 47. So we were just doing a lot really well compared to Central Michigan this game.
Yeah, the Zips really seem to be clicking in this game. As we've seen from how the season is shaped out, as the team gains confidence throughout the game, you can see that. Once they start, getting themselves in right positions, getting the kills they need, you can see the energy and you can feel the energy in the arena building up. Yeah. And it clearly shows, as you mentioned, a few of them, Faith Johnson, Eliska Vidaskova, the front line of the Zips team, with Hara in here and there, Lauren Baker, Ellen Kennard, they seem to have a pretty dominant front line that, in my opinion, kind of scares me, quite frankly. Just because being there, watching the games, like they hit the ball pretty hard, and it intimidates me. So I couldn't imagine being Central Michigan. But speaking of Central Michigan, as you mentioned, they took the first set, Akron came back in the second. Central then went on to win the third set, and it looked as though Central Michigan was going to win it in four. But we really seemed to coming out of that third set into the fourth. I'm not sure what Tyson told the team, but something seemed to change there, and it was a little back and forth. But we ended up gaining the upper hand, took it into the fifth set, and they took it into the fifth set, and they were able to come out on top. A couple players, or just one player I'm thinking of off the top, Devin Bright from Central Michigan side of the game. She seemed to come in, and the Zips didn't seem to have an answer for her midway through the game. She just came in and seemed to be a spark. She seemed to be all over the court, and every time her shot came over the net, it seemed to always result in a kill for result in a point for them as well. Just seemed like Tyson Norton wasn't sure exactly how to adjust to that, but as it went on and they started getting some similar looks, it seems that Tyson was able to find the right players to sub in, make the right adjustments, and it clearly led to a good win for the Zips here. How do you feel about this team moving forward?
I have a lot of confidence in them moving forward. They just seem like they're playing very well. They seem like they just can, even if they lose like they did in this first set, they can still come back. They still have the confidence to come back. So I think the fact that they're just so determined to win will let them have a really good season.
Yeah, I mean, with that in mind, just that winning mentality, that dog mentality, I think it'll really help them out going into this next 2-game series against Ball State. The Zips 5-1 in the MAC. They're finding themselves in a pretty good spot heading into the playoffs as we get towards the postseason. But Ball State's going to be. Ball State's going to be a pretty tough opponent. Just they're 1 or 2 in the MAC, I don't remember which, but they're right up there at the top. And hopefully this momentum can carry into the game, and it'll be exciting to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Yeah, for sure.
So that'll about do it for our coverage of the volleyball team today. From here, we're going to take it into our first commercial break. But when we come back, we'll be jumping into men's soccer. Stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
Welcome back. As we continue our show talking about the men's soccer team, we're going to take it over to Megan, who looked at the Zips' recent game against DePaul. Here's that coverage.
Hi everyone, it's Megan with the ZTV Sports Report, and today I will be talking about the men's soccer team. I will be covering their most recent game today, so let's see how they are doing. In the most recent game, the Zips were at home taking on DePaul. Akron came out on top this game with a 3-0 victory. This game was a defensive battle, with the Zips not scoring until the second half. DePaul's goalie had an amazing first half, saving 5 shots taken by the Zips. In the second half, though, the Zips finally found their footing, and in the 71st minute, our first goal was made by Steven DeBreivik. After this, the Zips got rolling and scored their second goal in the 72nd minute and their third in the 80th, both thanks to Jason Shukaluk. Both goalies played very well in this game, with Mitch Butler, the Zips goalie, getting yet another shutout this season. DePaul's goalie Gandhi Cruz was also working very hard this game and got 9 saves. Another shout out should definitely go to Jason Shukaluk, who has 13 goals on the season. He also has a total of 64 shots attempted, with 33 of them being on target. With a record of 9-0-5, The Zips sit at third in the conference and show no signs of stopping this dominance. This has been Megan with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips!
Thank you, Megan. Well, this is just another dominant win for this men's soccer team. This win puts them at 8-0-4 on the season, and the Zips just seem to be rolling. Coming into this game, they picked up back-to-back wins against Seton Hall and Northern Kentucky, and they don't seem to be, full steam ahead, no looking back. One of the guys that's really seemed to help the Zips, Jason Shukaluk, really seems to be out of a very talented roster. He still seems to be the star for this team.
Yeah.
Just looking at this DePaul game, it's kind of baffling looking at the stats.
Yeah.
Just 9 shots from Shukaluk, 2 of them. Yeah, 2 on goal, and both of his shots on goal were were goals. He scored both of those, and he just seems to be leading the way. And as we talked in the first episode, it was really on, I think this team, the biggest thing this team has that they can go off of is just the leadership from the older guys in this team. And that seems to be showing, Johnny Fitzgerald has been playing really well off the bench. Drbijevic's playing pretty well. Toyega, Riley, he's stepped in, even though I think he's a younger player, but he's still stepped in. But then, going back to guys like Joel Sangwa, Dyson Claypier, Juan Cruzper, Juan Kamal is always there. Guayan Chong seems to be a fan favorite in some eyes. It just seems like the Zips found themselves in a pretty good spot. So what were your takeaways from this DePaul game?
Yeah, once again, with the fact that we have such a good roster, I think it's very important to mention Mitch Butler still, because he's pretty much always our starting goalie, and he's been doing amazing this year. He got another shutout this game. And our team had 12 shots on goal, and we have to give it to the other goalie. He had 9 saves. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I couldn't imagine being the goalie facing this Akron Zips team, because again, 24 shots, as you mentioned, 12 of them were on goal.
Yeah.
But they've taken 20 shots just about every game I've seen this season.
Yeah.
And also corner kicks, they had another 10 corner kicks. They're double digits in shots across the board.
Yeah.
And I think that's partly what makes this team so good.
Yes, for
it's just
sure.
they can kind of match how the game's going. If they need to sit back and play defense, they can play defense. But I think the identity of this team is just to get out and start fast and get themselves to a lead. Because scoring a goal in soccer it's not the easiest thing. It doesn't come immediately. Like this DePaul game, it was 0-0 through the first half.
Yeah.
And both of the goals not coming till the second half. It's usually whoever can get that first goal has a pretty good chance of winning the game, and that seems to be the Zips game plan. Just from there, how do you feel about the Zips team, moving into the playoffs?
I have a lot of confidence in them. They're just a very strong team all around. I don't think we have a single weak player, honestly. So even if we have to sub out some of our starting 11, we know we have confidence in the other subs. So I think our team should have a really good shot.
Yeah, I feel the same way. This is, with all the sports, men's soccer always puts themselves at the top. They're just always one of the top teams, in their sport, but also just at this university. And looking, as I mentioned to start this, the conference record, 2-0-2 or 8-0-4 in the season, 2-0-2 in the conference. I believe they're sitting about 3rd, and I think about 4 teams make it out from the conference, and I imagine the Zips will be one of those teams that make it out.
Yeah, for sure.
And it seems that with some of these seniors, Will Jackson, some of these older players, it seems like from last season they're wanting to right the wrong they made going out 3-0 against Pittsburgh. It seems that all eyes are set on making a deep run, and I think they can do it. I think it'll be a really exciting finish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So from there, we're going to take it into our last commercial break. But when we come back, we'll be jumping in and finishing off with women's soccer. Stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
Welcome back. To finish off today's episode, we'll be talking about the women's soccer team. So let's see how they fared in their recent game against Ball State. What's going on, everybody? Zach Leininger here, and today I'll be covering the Zips women's soccer team and seeing how they did in their most recent game against Ball State. In this game, the 2-12 Zips welcomed the Cardinals into First Energy Stadium, looking to put an end to a 6-game losing streak and earn their first conference win of the year. The action started off quickly with Avery Fenchel putting Ball State up 1-0 with a goal in the 17th minute. Akron quickly answered back with a goal of their own in the 32nd minute, courtesy of Ella Hadley. After a tough back and forth start, both teams went into halftime tied 1-1. Coming out of the break, it was clear that both teams looked a little sluggish from their efforts in the first half. This didn't stop the shots from flying, however, as the Zips recorded 8 shots in the second half, including many close calls. With the time winding down, it appeared this game was going to end in a 1-1 draw. Any hope for that was crushed after Fenchel found a hole in Akron's defense, scoring her second goal of the game in the 86th minute, sealing a 2-1 win for Ball State. Though the Zips suffered a heartbreaking loss, they put up arguably their best showing of the season, posting a season-high 25 shots, including a season-best 11 shots on goal. As the Zips enter their final 4 games of the season, they will look to maintain a similar effort. This has been Zach Leininger with the ZTV Sports Report, and as always, go Zips! Well, Megan, this was just another heartbreaking loss for this women's soccer team. Looking into this game, both teams were able to score a goal early on, which took it 1-1 into the first half. And from there, it just felt like things were heading towards a 1-1 draw, especially when they came out in the second half. Ball State and Akron just seemed gassed from all the energy they put out in the first half, and it was shown on the field. Players just kind of seemed sluggish. No one was really too aggressive, and again, it just felt like this was going to be a draw until the 86th minute. Under 4 minutes left in the game, Ball State happened to knock in a shot that, for what I remember, was just deflected, and it came back, and Ball State just found themselves in the right spot and knocked it in, and just left the Zips stunned. It felt like a game that they spent so much battling back and forth. To see a loss for the Zips here just doesn't feel right. But what were your thoughts on this game against Ball State?
Yeah, I mean, our girls had 11 shots on goal this game. Like Emma and Ella both had 3 shots on goal, and Ella got the only goal of the game.
Yeah.
And with all those shots, you would have hoped that a couple more of them would have gone in. But we just never can seem to connect on most of our shots. And the other team's goalie was just not making it easy at all with her 10 saves this game. So we've had a lot of close games this entire season, honestly, and it's just kind of hard.
Yeah, it's just seeing that we're 2-12, 0-7 in the conference. It just doesn't seem to show the full story, because in this game, a game that could have easily ended in a 1-1 draw and given us a tie instead of a loss, ended in our 12th loss of the season. And then thinking back, I know they played Boston College. I think that was like a 1-0 game. And it's things like that where these 12 losses could easily have been, we'll say like 9 and tack on a few ties to that, which would make the record look a little better. But when I think about it, it feels like it feels like the women have just been kind of shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Only because you were mentioning Ball State's goalie Bethany Moser. She had 10 saves on the day, but to be honest, we were kind of making her job easy, in my opinion, just because. Seeing how it was going, we were getting down, being really aggressive, which with that, we were talking about last episode how the Zips seem to have done better on defense, but they need to be more aggressive. We saw that aggressive side in this game. 25 shots. It's got to be one of the highest I've seen this season. 11 shots on goal. We were coming out swinging. We were doing everything we needed to, and just once again, like I've seen in so many games this season, the amount of times we hit the crossbar was uncountable.
Yeah.
I think we hit the crossbar 3 or 4 times in this game, and it sucks to get all the way down. It's tough to get all the way down. Take the ball all the way down the field, get set up right in front of the box, and then just to hear and see the ball come off the crossbar. Then another girl comes off the crossbar again, and then like the third shot, the goalie ends up saving it. It's like we seem to be missing out on a lot of opportunities to score, and I feel like if we can just clean up those couple of mistakes, just try to be a little more efficient. I feel like even though the season's pretty much done. I mean, we got a few games left in the season, but it'll be cool to see and nice to see if the Zips can, like I said, just clean up those couple of things, get a couple more wins, and just try to end the season on a high note. Do you have anything else to add on the women's team?
I just think they need to be a lot better on defense and offense, honestly. I think if they can get better on both sides of the ball, our team would be a lot better.
Yeah, like I said, we'll see how the rest of the season shapes out, and hopefully, as we watch this team going into next season, hopefully when we come back here, hopefully things are a little different for Jen Simonetti and your team, and like I said, I just hope that we can see hopefully we can see a turnaround from this women's team.
For sure, yeah.
Well, that'll about do it for this episode of the ZTV Sports Report. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ZTV Sports and on YouTube at ZTV Sports Report. As always, I'm Zach Leininger.
And I'm Megan Williams.
Thank you for watching, and go Zips.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.